So there you have it, guys. Man United 0, Chelsea 0. In a really boring game, man. A really unentertaining game. A game that I just thought we lacked that true desire and true intensity to go on and win. There are some small positives from it. The fact that we didn't lose, you got to take that out of it. The fact that Chelsea came with all their firepower, over £200 million, and we didn't really look truly troubled. But I think they can actually turn into little bits of negatives, because the fact that we were able to keep Chelsea at bay, or whether Chelsea wanted to play like that or not, whichever you want to call it, the onus was then on us to come and break them down. I think Chelsea came there knowing that in the league, at least, we've been doing them over. We've been getting good results against them. It happened in the semi-final of the FA Cup, where Lampard was the first time he went to that five at the back, and he had joy against us. Obviously, they played us off the park that day as well. And I remember saying after that game that Ollie was naive in thinking that Lampard wouldn't change anything and that he could just put the same team out again. So in fairness to Ollie, he did try and change it. In fairness to Ollie, he tried to play a winning team in terms of a league team. But I think when you go up in opposition, and no disrespect to Newcastle, and you play a team like Chelsea, you have better players and can defend a lot better than Newcastle, I think it becomes more difficult. I think it becomes way more difficult, and we just never got into our stride. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that when that team come out, I was raging. So I'm not raging now. The one thing I did say from the start was the Dan James situation. Van der Beek should have started for me, and I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but after the first 5 to 10 minutes, you could see it wasn't going to be a game for Dan James. He's up against a fit and strong and quick Reece James. You've got Aspilicueta, very experienced in the inside right channel as the third centre-back. Dan James was always going to have a difficult evening, and I think the writing was on the wall there. And maybe Ollie didn't anticipate Frank Lampard playing 5, but I think after very early on, he didn't really have an answer, and we kind of just left James out there to just keep deteriorating in level of performance. Marcus Rashford cut an isolated figure up front as well, as Chelsea had the 3 centre-backs and looked super comfortable. Although when we did catch Chelsea on the break, it was Marcus Rashford who actually had the best chance of that half, and probably should have got into the box with one more extra touch and then fire across the goalkeeper Mendy. But to be fair, he got his shot on target and he worked the keeper. And Rashford nearly won it at the end, which I'll talk about later. The game just felt like, especially the first half, I thought we were so lethargic. I could accuse us almost of just letting it pass us by. And I felt like there was a sense of nervousness. I felt like the players were like, we lost the last game here at Old Trafford 6-1. But I didn't really understand why. After Newcastle, they played so well, and especially after PSG, they played so well. I would have expected the confidence to be booming, to be buzzing, and for us to be at it and get after Chelsea. And what I liked about the PSG result, not just because we played a different system, but more so that when Ollie realised that we could go for PSG, he changed it quickly, and the players' mindset changed, and the players took responsibility also, to be fair to them, or to be fair to Ollie. The players took responsibility of their performance and they raised it. I didn't see that from the coaching staff, Ollie, and I didn't see it from the players, so I'm not going to put it all on Ollie, because even when the subs came on, the spark wasn't really there. The Van der Beek situation's a weird one, guys, because look, I know we can't play him in every game, and I know it's still early. He's got to feel his way into it. And you know what? In 5 or 6 games' time, when Van der Beek's playing every game, we might say, look, remember when he didn't used to play? And Ollie said, look, I told you to get games. I get it. But I don't know. I keep seeing that picture of him in the stands. Obviously, there's no fans around and stuff. So he's just sitting there with the red seats. Just looks like an isolated figure. He's probably looking at Dan James thinking, how can I not play in that position? Looking at Juan Mata, who I did say deserved to start and I thought was actually pretty good in the first half. And saying, why can't I start? And I just worry. I'm a little bit apprehensive from now, because I'm like, what's he got to do to get an opportunity? Bruno was literally played in every position today. He played in 10, he played in an 8, and he played out on the wing as well, temporarily before Mason Greenwood came on for the last 10 minutes. And he didn't do particularly well for large periods, but Van der Beek must have been scratching his head there as well. Pogba got on before him. I can see potentially why that's happening. Pogba came on in a 10 position, didn't really do much. And it isn't just Pogba. I just think all of the changes. Cavani looked like he wanted to get into some good positions, which is good. And I thought he did okay. But by and large, we couldn't really get him into the game. He did what he could in that time, considering how we were playing. Fred and McTominay, I think, look, I don't want to be too critical of that midfield of Fred McTominay and Bruno Fernandes, because literally before the game, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Before the game, I was saying, look, that midfield was good against Newcastle. That same midfield was good against PSG. They deserve to start the game. The problem is, I think, is when the onus was on them this time, in contrast to the PSG game, when the onus was on these three, or especially McTominay and Fred, to make things happen offensively, because Chelsea were quite structured and very set in their shape. I feel like they didn't really have the answers. I thought McTominay's passing was off today. Fred was scrappy in some areas, but I've generally had a steady game, not an outstanding game, but a steady game. So I just thought that they lacked that, and maybe Ollie could have changed that earlier. But look, essentially, does it feel like a loss? It doesn't feel like a loss, but it just feels a bit, because I think Chelsea were there to be got, and I just want to see us be a bit more ruthless. I think we just allowed the game to pass us by too easily, too quickly, and without a proper, way of playing against Chelsea that put them under pressure. I see it similar to the PSG game. I was worried that Werner would give us the runaround and make it difficult, but we marshalled him quite well. I was worried about Pulisic, and we limited him to, a couple of half chances. And Havertz didn't really have much on as well. So, Chelsea will be disappointed in their performance as well. But for me, that's even more the reason why I thought we should go for him. I think Harry Maguire, I have to say, although he was pretty assured other than this incident, he's very lucky against Azpilicueta. You have to admit that. Look, we all support Man United. We want us to do well. But for me, when we win, I want us to win because, credit's due to us and we deserve to win. And if you lose, you don't want it to be, a robbery. You want to lose fair and square. And I just want to see things being given fairly. So I don't want penalties to happen against Man United, but you can't deny that Harry Maguire, what he's done to Azpilicueta there, was criminal. And the thing is that VAR didn't even look at it. So very lucky there. Imagine if, he gives away a penalty there, they scored, they nick a 1-0, or it's a draw or whatever, or we can see the goal from that mistake, because it was a mistake from Harry Maguire. And DJ said it on the fan forum that Harry Maguire's been doing that to his own players. Just pulling people and just being a little bit clumsy. So yeah, by and large, he was okay, but that could have been a sticking point there. I thought Lindelof did really well. The fact that I'm even highlighting Lindelof probably shows, not just defensively, but he was actually trying to make things happen, trying to step out of defense, trying to drive, trying to give us some impetus to just go and do something. I just didn't see the spark there from the attacking players to the creative and the creative players. The Dan James situation, though, I do feel a little bit for him, because I think the coaching staff must see that he's not offering anything. Even Gary Neville said it. There was a time, second half, Bruno plays a good ball through to him. He's running out, I think it's Thiago Silva. And, when it's like, if a winger makes a decision to try and beat someone and they don't beat them, you can go, look, he's trying to be positive. You can get tackled. That happens. But if you do neither, take the player on, or make a penetrative pass, or get a shot off on goal, if you do neither of those three things, that's what frustrates me so much about Dan James. It's the awareness of where to be, the awareness of, or the decision-making quality to be able to make the right choice at the right time. And he's just not doing that right now. And I don't necessarily blame him. Ollie said a lot last season that he overplayed Dan James. He didn't want to play him as much as we did. Now we've got Donny van de Beek in there. You've got another player who can play in that position. I know he's not the same type of player as Dan James. He's a lot more sensible. He's a better player than Dan James, but he's still not a winger, and I get that. But I just think that plan backfires, and Ollie's got to learn from that now. He's given it enough chances. He's given it enough time to say, go on, Dan, have another go. Go on, Dan, have another go. It was the same against Newcastle. He was ineffective, and even more so today. So interesting to see what happens against Leipzig. Cavani's got to start, you would think. But then again, Martial and Rashford have been playing well together, but I don't see him going with a 5 at the back against Leipzig. I think he plays the same formation. So for me, Martial does have to play because he can't. He's got no game time. But I would probably start Cavani. I'd probably shake it up. I'll probably put maybe rest Rashford. Maybe rest Rashford. Put Martial on the left, Van de Beek on the right, or put Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, Cavani up front. I just want to see us go for it. I think Pogba should start that game. See if we can get a response out of him. It's about just kind of giving us a platform to feed off and to go for. So, yeah, Ollie's tactics, I don't think came off today. I could see what he was trying to do, but it just didn't come off. The players weren't at it. We lacked intensity. I think we lacked a little bit of belief as well. We played so within ourselves, and it is a point, and I get that. And, in the grand scheme of things, with teams dropping points, and I think we're 3 points off third, I think the guys were saying in the chat, and I get that, but it's just not season opportunity. Man City drew today. We could have capitalized on that. And I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. I just want us to get some consistency. But it's you know, a third game unbeaten if you want to go down that road. But you can see when the players aren't at it, the players really aren't at it, mixed with some bad decisions coaching wise as well. So my man of the match, it's between Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka really, and that's slim pickings. I'll give it to Lindelof. But we go again, exciting game against Leipzig, get 3 points in that. You know, that's 6 points on the board after a very good performance against PSG. If we can win at home to Leipzig, that should breed some confidence. And it's going to be interesting against Arsenal, guys, because Arsenal play a 5 at the back. It's not like how Chelsea play 5 at the back where they just switched to it for today. That is Arsenal's way of playing. And I think Arteta would probably go with maybe Xhaka and Thomas Partey in there as the 2, or maybe Thomas Partey and Dani Ceballos. He's going to go with the back 5. You're going to have probably, I don't know, you're going to have Tierney left wing back and Bellerin right wing back, and they will go, you know what I mean? And the 3 centre backs are probably David Luiz, Gabriel, and Holding or something like that. But they know how to play that system, and I think Arteta is a meticulous manager. He will play how they played against Man City. They sit tight, they sit compact, and the onus will be on us to break them down, and they will try and hit us on the break. And I think Ollie needs to be aware of that. If that's the way we're going to attack a back 5, I would be worried. So hopefully Ollie can have a plan for that, because I don't think playing that same team is going to be the right thing to do. If he is going to go with a 4-2-3-1 against that 5, he's got to inject some pace into the team, and some, not even just pace because Dan James is pace, but he's got to inject the right type of players into the game. You've got to get your sensible players playing in that game. So, you know, 2 sets of points to play for, PSG, Leipzig and Arsenal. Hopefully we get the 6 points out of it. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. I'm out of it. Peace.